Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, this is exclusive content right here. This is for subscribers only.
Subscribers only. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So
This is
hit the bell
pre-show.
button
Yeah.
to make sure that you're a subscriber so you get to special content.
How do people? Yes, yeah. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell button, and so that you'll get notified when we're doing stuff.
When we're doing stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how this works. I have no idea how this works. Right? I'm just here, man.
Oh my gosh.
That's all. I'm just here.
Now, wait a minute. If they have to be subscribers to get the special content,
That's right.
why should they hit the bell button if they've already?
Well, because bells are fun.
And how do other people that are not subscribers hear
Dave
this
has the
content
bell.
to know that they got to
Dave, you got the bell.
I think the two of you are arguing over two people.
Yeah,
But in the meantime,
yeah, that's right. Thank you, Dave. All right. Oh, look, we got a new bell.
Oh, wow.
Ring for coffee. Oh,
Does
Belvedere.
that work? I want to
I've
ring
got
for
some right
coffee
here.
bells.
Did somebody say, "Oh, Belvedere"? Did I hear that? Oh,
Belvedere.
Belvedere, come, yeah, boy. That's
I've got
my.
some,
That's
previously
Foghorn
enjoyed
Leghorn,
coffee.
man, from like Looney Tunes. You don't remember that?
No,
Devin?
when I think of
you not watch
Belvedere, I think
cartoons?
about that show, Mr. Belvedere from the
too
80s.
young.
You
don't
didn't-
know, you're too young.
Belvedere.
Oh yes,
Come,
I'm
yeah, boy.
I'm a very young 41. All the
Well, I got T-shirts older than you.
I made a reference to Let's Make a Deal.
He didn't
recently.
know. He was clueless.
The audience the people in front had no idea. What I was
Yeah,
talking
we had no idea.
oh yeah, with Wayne Brady.
Well, no. It was, there was someone before Wayne Brady, but
How
that's
about
okay.
Hollywood Squares?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a good one.
The guy
Charles
in the middle.
Nelson
yeah,
Riley.
Charles, and yes, in
Yeah.
the middle. He was in the middle of row 2.
Yeah, that's right. And he would
Yeah,
always
That's
go.
a good memory.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
great.
I grew up in front of TV.
I don't remember anything about that except for Circle Gets the Square.
I think they should bring that back.
you remember that?
They're running out of ideas.
I think it's yeah. I agree.
they're running out of. They got nothing.
We're playing a game called
Well,
The Floor now with whatever that new one that's on.
Oh
And the,
yeah.
Synchronized sleeping will be the
Yeah,
next one.
yeah.
Synchronized sleeping. Well
I
played,
think
Scott.
you can watch that right now on like TikToks and YouTubes.
I would be up to be a contestant on it. So.
You can start that. You're on social media.
Sleep
Just
as
go
fast
live.
as you can.
Well, you know, our
I
show.
think my wife
has
would
been
win,
known-
or she'd pretend she's sleeping. She don't have to listen to me. So
Well, our show's been known to put people to sleep, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
just
it's-
getting
it's
ahead.
the listener.
We've got
Turn it
ahead
into
of
a game
ourselves
show.
right now. So,
We could have Pin the Tail on the Marine.
yeah, synchronized
Whoa.
sleeping. My
Hey, wait a
punk band in
second.
the
I
'80s.
don't know if I like this show. That's
I would have said something that was maybe a little more personal, but I didn't want to offend nobody
that might be listening.
I'm trying to be careful not to have no more warrants.
What,
No-
you,
no
you
more
should be.
push-ups for
Oh,
you.
we're getting
We're
ready to
live.
come in.
Yeah.
Mike's off.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes here on WSIC. That's local starts here. Everybody's just looking at me. I know I was told not to say it, but I can't. I'm
The
so
studio
obliged.
manager told
I'm
you
so obliged to
specifically.
the branding. I'm
Well,
so
he didn't
obliged.
say- he
See,
didn't
the
say not to
engineers.
say it.
That's right. The engineers give me the thumbs up, and it's like this is our home. This
But
is
you know
where
what's
we're at.
odd to me about that?
What?
It seems too short.
Local starts here.
That's it.
No,
It's
but
like,
it's easy to
where's
say.
the rest?
It's easy to remember. Local starts here.
It does start here, and this is where it all
Starts
comes
right
together.
here. It all
Where
comes
does
together
it
here in
start, I
Statesville.
think is what he's
Crossroads of
getting
the
at.
future.
It starts
Right.
here, and it all comes together here. So that means we take circles in our conversations, and we're going to circle back to that.
No, stop. That's Jen Psaki's line.
For
Stop,
all of the
man.
listeners who are as confused as I am,
Yeah, if you've
I don't
tuned,
know
if you're
what to
one
tell
of the tens of listeners, you've tuned into Putting the Pieces Back Together. And so we are joined in studio today by our friend Dave Sternberg, chairman of the board.
Oh, yeah, that's
of
right.
Purple Heart Homes.
My boss is here. We have to be on the best behavior.
That has not been the case up until now.
Yeah,
so what are
I-
you just going to start behaving
Well,
now?
I mean, you guys just keep upping the ante. You bring the sheriff in here. You bring the 37th Commandant of the Marine
I
Corps in
didn't do
here, and
that.
now you brought my boss in here.
Listen,
and
I-
I'm like, I'm worried.
Yeah,
What are y'all
listen,
trying to do to me? It's like
I'm disappointed every day. But no, actually, I
feel I'm on the hot
no,
seat.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
maybe
Everything's
that's my
terrific.
seat warmer.
Yeah, no, everything's good, man. I don't. You don't work for me. I work for you.
Oh, I like that.
I want you to know
Wow.
that.
I like
Okay,
that.
That's been recorded now. Though.
I've heard this statement before. Hey, we're from Brigade and we're here to help.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
man.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
what I used to hear is we're here from brigade and we're going to check your count.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I
So-
mean, artillerymen, we've not been known to be able to count very well.
That's and it's pretty important with all the shells that you have. So you should be able to
Hey,
count
look,
them.
we never had extra. I promise you that.
Gotcha.
No?
Yeah. So we are also joined by Scott Moss, our friend from Military Makeover, and man, we're super glad you're here today, brother.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. I think you've been on pretty good behavior since I've seen you. So, yeah, super excited to be here with
Yeah,
you
you-
all in your beautiful, nice and warm Statesville. So,
Yeah, nice and warm. Yeah,
He's
nice
being
and warm.
slightly
Says the
facetious.
man
Yeah.
from Florida.
yes.
Yes,
bit-
yes.
little bit.
Scott, it is actually warmer here.
Did you have to
Is
go
it?
to the
In my
store
home,
to
so-
purchase some thermal products?
I did.
Yeah.
When you think you have warm gear in Florida, you realize you don't very
Yeah,
quickly.
right.
So.
We got some great stores in downtown Statesville. You can go to
Right.
Roots Outdoors and get some stuff. Even though they're not a
need to
sponsor of the show, we still like to help folks that are local.
I just got to say about these two gentlemen that are here with us today, really longtime supporters of Purple Heart Homes. And Dave, really been a supporter since near the beginning. First met Dale in 2010
Yep.
at a USO board training, and then myself in 2011 when we went out to California for the Annenberg training there, and that was really, really great. The training that really helped set the stage and the pathway for Purple Heart Homes growth. And so you've seen a lot of that and been a major part of that. And so we're thrilled to have you and Scott. Our very first television show we were part of, Designing Spaces, back in 2011.
Yep.
And so we're thrilled to have you here now and be able to talk about the work that we're doing with Military Makeover. And so welcome, guys.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Yeah, can you give us kind of sort of the backstory? How did this? Hey, I'm going to do a TV show about fixing up people's houses. How did all that come together?
Yeah.
And what's your background?
So I'd love to take credit for it all, but John's right. It was back in 2011. So Designing Spaces, you may have heard of the show, been on the air now for just about over 20 years, right? So we did a military makeover show, which was not called Military Makeover yet, which coincidentally was tied with Purple Heart in the Jacksonville area. Yep, Jacksonville, Florida. Where we made over a veteran's home, and it was great and all. And coincidentally, Art, who is one of the co-hosts of Military Makeover, actually hosted that show. Weirdly, and it did that one, and then it kind of sat on the shelf. We had some changes internally, and a couple of years later, myself and a few other people were like, "We got to bring this. We got to do that again." Well, what should we call it? I don't know. It's called Military Makeover. It's a great name, and we decided we wanted to bring the show back. So we started the program in probably the middle summer of 2014, where we started to try to put it together. And when you're going to launch a new show, especially if you're going to go get approval for a new show, you have to have a decent idea, and usually you're not given much budget, pretty much no budget. So we, came up with the show as a part of Designing Spaces still. So it was that Designing Spaces Military Makeover, but it was not on its own. And the show began with the first family, the Lunt family in Summerville, South Carolina, which aired fourth quarter of 2014. And we are going to be celebrating Family 40 this year.
Wow.
So
That's
pretty
impressive.
awesome. And just, really amazing what we've been able to do.
You had Arlie Ermy was the original kind of military face of the show, and you
Yeah.
were telling a story when we were off air about him going into a cafe down in
Yeah.
Somerville, and people going, "Wow, the gunny's here!"
Pretty recognized. Yeah. So one of our producers had come in as we were putting the show together and was like, I think he was in a magazine ad somewhere, and was like, he would be perfect. I'm like, oh my gosh, he would be perfect for the show. How are we going to get him? So a lot of outreach and figuring out how to contact his people, and was able to kind of get him through another partner to come onto the show. And he came to the first one and was our host for a while, and really helped us launch the program. It was absolutely amazing to work with. He was a great guy. Obviously he was a Marine first actor, way down the list. And yeah, so we were there in South Carolina. And if you know Arlie Ermy the Gunny, he's got a very recognizable look,
yeah.
right? Very voice.
The drill instructor
Yeah.
from Full Metal Jacket.
Right,
Yeah, he's,
right.
He's
So
the guy.
yeah,
You sound excited saying that, Devin.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like you're just like ready to go back to boot camp.
Why do you think I went into the Marine Corps? It was Gunny Ermy. Yes.
Devin, how would you fare back at boot camp right now? What would that
Right
what
now,
would that be like?
I'm pretty sure I would be Private Pile.
Well, you were telling me about Gunny and how he got into into the movie Full Metal Jacket. I think you were telling me this story back in the summers that he was brought on as an advisor to the film.
Yeah, you can look it up, but there was, and I have to get into it, but essentially he was, brought in to kind of advise on it, and then ended up seemingly like, why am I hiring you to be this guy? And ended up,
I could see him saying, "You guys aren't doing this right. Just get out of the way.
Yeah.
Just get out of the way."
Well, the director was like, "This guy does it way better than the actor. Why don't we just let him be the actor, and then the rest is history?"
I think that's pretty much how it went. But we were grateful to have him, and helped us launch the show. And again, went to that restaurant, and people just paused with spoons in their mouth. Oh my gosh, he's pretty recognizable.
Here. Yeah.
And he was with us from then until he passed away in 2018.
Yeah,
So,
wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow.
Great guy.
Well, we got just a couple of minutes here, about a minute before our break, and as you thought about this, I mean, what has it meant to you to have this show and be able to honor veterans?
So I never served in the military. People ask me that all the time as one of the people who co-created the show, but I have a tremendous affinity and respect for veterans and military, police, all that, and feel that we owe a lot to our veterans and our active duty. So our goal with the show is to give back a small portion of what our servicemen and women and their families have given. A lot of people don't think about the spouses and the kids. We have a very close friend of ours who's in the service, and how many countless times, my wife's talked to her and he's gone. And he's gone. And you don't think about that as I'm coming home from work at 5:30, right? So, we realized with the show that there was, and I can get into that a little further.
Put a pin in it right there.
Okay.
We're going to hear a little bit more about that when we come back from break. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
Great.
All right.
So Dave, just
Not kicking me out yet?
The,
Yeah.
the Beethoven of directing.
Yeah,
here.
oh yeah, he is. This is exclusive content right here. by the
Joe
way.
is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, just to turn to you for a couple minutes in the break here, as we had said, in the start of the show, just how long you've been around. Kind of a similar type of experience, just starting with us, and we're thrilled, for every supporter that is that's involved, and they don't all have to be veterans, but you've got a backstory and now a personal connection to the service. Tell us a little bit about it.
So my dad is a Navy veteran himself, and he was part of the early nuclear Navy, like in the late 50s, early 60s. And he actually had some really interesting deployments. One was in Kentucky. That's where he went to school with an ROTC scholarship, and he had to serve.
They dug a canal.
Right. Well, what he did was This is. If you guys would be quiet, I'll tell you what the story is. It's where they sent those nuclear Navy because they wanted to put the nuclear weapons in a place the Russians wouldn't think they were located. So he went there first, but he was all over and then served in the reserves for a considerable amount of time. But I have 5 kids, and 1 girl, 4 boys, and the oldest boy is a lieutenant in the Army. We've talked about that, right?
That's awesome.
That's exactly.
Yeah, and he's just came back recently from a deployment, and trying to reacclimate to everything. He's doing a
What's
great
his
job.
MOS, Dave?
His MOS is he likes burgers and fries.
I mean, yeah. What's he do? I mean, is he an infantry guy?
He's artillery.
Artillery.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
he's
King of battle,
John's
baby.
more ammunition.
King of battle.
and
You got some special announcement news
I do.
today,
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say he's home. He's looking at the next thing he's gonna do, but he and his wife, our daughter-in-law Molly, and his name's Channing, are expecting their first child.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Graham.
Congratulations.
What's up,
Yeah,
Graham?
yeah. I think they're pretty excited. We're pretty excited.
What's going to
about
be
it.
your grandpa name?
Well, my stepdaughter has a son, so you guys know
You already
I
got one.
already have a 7-year-old grandchild. I go by Grandpa. That's pretty much it. But I tell you what, my wife, that's the center of our grandson's world.
Oh, yeah.
Grandma is it.
Yeah.
The sun rises and sets on Grandma.
I just want to be, when my daughter or my son has a child, I just want to be known as the dude.
The dude.
The dude on
Yeah.
gosh.
You got the right shirt.
Yeah,
The
for us.
dude
Grand
abides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to abide as the grand dude.
Yeah.
Grand dude.
I just want to say, if I were the Russians, I would have definitely attacked Kentucky. Destroy the spirits.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes, and you are listening to us live here in the studio with two very special guests. We have got Dave Sternberg, board chairman of Purple Heart Homes and longtime supporter and contributor to the organization. As well, we have Scott Moss. Scott is the EVP of programming for Military Makeover, co-creator of Military Makeover, EVP of everything else that has to do with BrandStar.
Yep.
And we're just thankful to have you here, and
thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
appreciate you, Scott.
Yep, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Scott, I want to, before we jump into the serious stuff, you have a friend that I'm super interested in and have been since the 90s. It's your friend Rob.
Oh, yeah.
Did you tell everybody about your friend Rob?
I'm just his friend, his neighbor.
Well, he's not quite he's neighbor down the street. Yeah. We, Rob Vanilla Ice down there in South Florida.
So awesome.
He's a good dude.
This is the greatest.
Comes around the
man.
studio a lot, likes to do stuff with us at BrandStar.
So
and
great.
he is a great guy.
He's so great. And you
Yeah, he's
mentioned a
right there.
story, like there was a neighbor of y'all's that needed some work done in their yard or
Yeah,
something.
I think they were one day dug a pond back there or something. You know, he's always building something.
He
So,
just drove a backhoe
he's got a
over there and
backhoe
started
they
digging.
Dug a pond in his backyard. So,
Awesome, man.
yeah.
You're in there, I can imagine the
There's a
scene.
koi, there's fish in it and everything.
Yeah, they're having some friends over and they're having like a dinner party. And God, when did you put the pond
guess you
in?
kn-
Yeah, Vanilla Ice.
You
did
know
that
the
for
right
us.
people, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
Vanilla
like,
Ice.
you
He's
gonna
got a
drive that
backhoe.
thing? He's like, yeah, man, I'm driving it. I'm like, I want to drive it.
That's so awesome, man.
That is really
So, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, he's a great
Greatest
guy,
story ever.
and he's awesome in the community where we are in South Florida, and just wonderful person. So
Scott, I want to just help us connect the dots and get Vanilla Ice on our radio program.
well, I don't know if I could do that, but I was thinking when the next military
shot.
makeover.
Okay. Just if he would just sing live for us on air.
Just
Ice,
say hi
ice,
to us.
baby.
Just say, hey,
Oh man,
we
that
love.
would,
I love putting
that
the
would
pieces
be an
back
interesting
together.
show. I don't.
All right, let's get back to reality here. Dave, I want to help, and I want to help navigate us to the end of the show, and not just to play around here. I think there's some real value in having both you and Scott on the show here to kind of converge the strategy behind the board and where Military Makeover comes into to Purple Heart Homes and why the partnership's so valuable. And so to do that, let's start back at the Annenberg Foundation and the training that you do and your background and some of the work that you're trying to do with the board.
Yeah. So as you know, John, I describe meeting you and Dale as like being introduced to the mob. Right, once you knew the two of you, there's no not knowing the two of you and getting pulled into your world. That's what that meant. And one of the things, and I'm going back to you said 2011. I'm old. I can't remember that far back. We did capacity building. We talked about how do you grow an organization and how do you understand what that means, and that's both a leadership issue. And that's both a financial issue. And so did some work over the years with you guys. And it's amazing to me, John, because I don't remember how big you were.
About half a million
$500,000 in 2011. And we are putting our finger on about an $8 million budget for next year. And that's a lot of growth. And the biggest thing for me at that time that was most important was how does the impact of what happens in a place like Statesville go nationwide. Now, we've served veterans and their families in 48 states. So you went from the home that was made for Dale by the community here and amplified that in ways that are almost immeasurable. But the leadership of Purple Heart Homes really understands the need to make this something that is known on a way bigger scale than Statesville or even North Carolina or even the Southeast. And so we really wanted to focus a great deal of time and energy and resources on growing that brand, which is where Scott and his team have entered in our relationship with Military Makeover. And Scott, over the course of the last few years, the quality and the way the shows produce, it's just a great platform for people to understand the impact we have in a way that we wouldn't be able to show them otherwise. And I think it's been terrific. I mean, it's really elevated.
I just love Scott's very eloquent description of comparison between the two organizations.
Yeah, I first off, thank you. I we got a chance to meet you all, and again, weird that we worked with you so long ago and totally different capacity, but you are almost us without a TV show, right? So, we have always working to get better. We have the most amazing crew, host, Montel. We can talk about, obviously Montel joining us as we talked about Gunny, and I talked about Montel joining us. Obviously Art and Jen, super grateful to have them, and our entire production team, the people behind the cameras that do an amazing job. And people don't realize what we're doing in 10 to 12 days, a contractor would tell you would take 3 or 4 months. And we're shooting a movie style production around it. So I really am in awe of every single time I go to a military makeover, what is being done in that short order. And then you've got brands that are involved that all have their part of it. We're shooting it and we're, stop, reattach that hose again. Okay, we'll do that again.
Scott, as you bring that up, I can't help but think about where we were filming on site the other day. And I know that the audience will not have been able to see this just yet, but we're filming, and all of a sudden you hear this on the wall outside of where we're filming, and Rick, the director's like, go stop him from hammering right there. We can hear it. It's right through the wall. So the guy moves down about, 10 feet on the house, and he starts doing it again, hammering again.
Stop hammering altogether, not right there, just stop. Yeah.
And so then a few minutes later, he's outside with a drill, an impact drill, drilling on the brick.
We're like, no work at all.
Scott, what's interesting to me really in this process has been, I knew Montel's story, right? And that's been, he's been public about that for a long time. It was Jen's story I wasn't even aware.
Oh yeah, Jen,
her dad was in the Air Force.
I believe so.
And she moved around a lot in Europe, and she was kind of a military brat, if you will, and so she didn't share that a lot. I just thought it was interesting.
Taught on a military base.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is she a great designer and what she does for the show, but it's. I mean, probably won't leave the house tonight, maybe at all, might sleep there so that it's ready for reveal, so it's the work and dedication, the whole crew. But the Purple Heart connection, I mean, you guys are amazing. And we've got a chance to learn more and more about you and experience the people that are part of the organization, because I don't believe, the companies and organizations are companies and organizations, it's the people. And what you do and the way you impact the community. And I got a chance to meet you all in person back, I think, in August or something, and see physically. And I came home, and you can ask members of our team, changed how amazing what you all are doing is, from the tiny homes to the ramps. These little things that you don't think about. I remember hearing about the ramps projects that you do, and you're thinking like a ramp, like a simple ramp that changes someone's life from not being able to go outside and play with their kid. And you're like, how can I get this? But they're not able to get access to it. So what you guys are doing in the community, and we're hopeful that our partnership can obviously help perpetuate that message and that education, but also help us change more veterans' lives.
And Scott, I mean, I'm glad you see that, because one of the things that always stuck with me about Purple Heart Homes and John and his work, and Dale was still with us, was, as much as I would want them to focus on the business model, right, growth and bringing in revenue and doing more projects, never once did either of them falter relative to what's trying to get accomplished.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
It was interesting this week.
You don't cut any corners.
Yeah,
you do it right,
Brad?
Yeah,
and this week was it's really interesting, because we had the whole military makeover team comes to Statesville, and we got a whole street that's like a beehive and people coming out, but
like
the
a
same
hornet's nest.
Yeah,
the whole community's out there.
But at the same time, Purple Heart Homes team was in Virginia, in the snow, putting a ramp on a veteran's house up in Virginia, right? And so we were talking with Art about that, and that the mission, we had this mission here, and this is all going on, and that requires some attention, but at the same time, we had, the rest of our team is still doing our normal mission day after day after day after day, and that'll continue on, each and every day, because we have project managers that will not be able to sleep at night for the fact that they're unable to help a veteran, right?
I think I'd calculated, I'm probably going to get this wrong, Brad, but since John said I pay his paycheck, I sign his paycheck, it's okay if I get it wrong. Yeah. I think we're almost doing, on a national scale, almost one project a day.
It's pretty
Just about.
Yeah,
Wow. That's pretty
like
close.
the working days. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we
You
had
looked
206 projects
Yes.
last year. So yeah, working days, almost completing one project
You know,
a day.
and they're not all to the scale of a military makeover necessarily, but
No.
I mean, think about the impact of one a day somewhere in the United
Yeah, and
States.
they impact
It'd
even
give
though
you
they're
chills,
not
man.
even though they're not on the scale of
Yeah.
military makeover, the impact of a ramp or the impact of a bathroom that you're not in danger of falling in
Right.
Heating an
anymore.
air
Yeah.
system when it's 10
Heat-
degrees
yeah.
outside.
Well, literally
Yeah.
this
Or the
week.
opposite.
Yeah, you had that this week, right?
We had that this week. We had a veteran not far from here, just an hour away, that's 74 years old. She lives alone. She served in the 70s, and her heat has been out for a year. She hasn't had heat, and it's been cold.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know, Carrie and Matt, our project management team, they moved heaven and earth, and she's got heat in her house now, I think, right? Or they're at least working
I
on
believe
it.
they're pretty close. And
Yeah.
I heard Montel Williams talking earlier today while there was some filming going on about how your organs just start shutting down when you're cold. So it's not something that you can live without. You need these things, and we're there to provide that for you.
That's why people who get in these ice baths just don't. I don't get it. Right? I don't get it. I had a friend of mine call me
How
last
about
night.
the
He's like,
polar plunge?
he said, "Come over to my house in the morning. We're going to do ice baths." And I was like, "Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. I am not doing that. I'd like my organs to work just fine. Thank you."
I know, Brad. You know, in my neck of the woods, you just go outside.
Just go
That's all you do.
outside. It's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah. So, hey, we're coming up to a break here. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. And we got a great guest with Scott Moss, and the chairman of the board, Dave, is here. And we're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors. Come on back in a few minutes.
When you say chairman of the board, can we have some
Yeah, we need
Sounds
like
so official.
some
we need like some
Sinatra?
Sinatra going.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I think he
Yeah.
does need some dramatic like intro music
That's
or
right.
something.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah,
The-
definitely.
ladies and gentlemen, the
Right.
chairman of the board.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
That
were
would be impressive.
you were talking about the daily. Where you remember at the board retreat where we had that competition to build ramps.
Yes,
we
I
broke
do
up into
remember
two
that.
Teams.
You were cheating the whole time.
Cheating is a
that's-
stretch.
Cheating.
those
We were
are some
cre-
heavy allegations.
We were
sir.
creatively creating a
you were
competitive
sabotaging. You were
advantage.
sabotaging your opponents.
Okay,
I
but
watched it.
Wow.
Now,
Is this?
Well, I mean, he is the chaplain. This is what you should expect the chaplain to do.
Somebody
Notice
needs
I'm
that.
not
The
saying
moral compass
anything.
has got to be in place.
where
That's
where
right.
where I actually was going with that, Brad, was I remember my team, and it was, you know, our board's not all people who have served. A good number of them
True.
have, right? And
Uh-huh.
the guys, the men and women on our board who served, sort of took a leadership role. I was happy to do what they told me to do,
What I saw
but I'm
him
terrible.
doing, Chap, was I saw him throwing tests to see how they would respond
Is that
and
what
if
that
they
was?
were prepared to overcome the challenges to win the victory for the day.
I like
He's
the way
also
he
going to be
phrased
asking
that.
like a
for a
guy
raise.
trying to make sure Dave
Are
keeps
you-
signing his paychecks.
Are
That's what it
you
sounds
are
like.
you the aren't you the ones who told me what is the saying? No battle plan is
Survives first contact.
yeah,
true.
I mean it's right.
Murphy.
Right. I had to see if their
Murphy's
plan.
Law, huh?
But you know, I was so bad with the tools. I mean, really bad. It was embarrassing.
I think
It was embarrassing.
witnessed-
my wife would have been ashamed of me.
I recently witnessed how bad you were with
You
the
did.
tools.
Yes, you did. Yeah,
I
you
may
did.
have encouraged it a little bit.
Perhaps.
But,
We'll
yeah.
see.
So then you didn't use Dave's ramps in any
That
sort
well,
of actual
now
match.
Scott.
Right.
We took them back apart.
Yeah, what happened,
These are
Scott?
great.
The
Minor adjustments were
job.
made.
so a member of our staff who's in charge of the ramps
Redid
right,
them.
She went through them and said both of them would not pass the standard of Purple Heart Homes. Neither one of them. John helped her. Like John walked up with a list of things that weren't right, and so it was humbling.
Which, by the way, that member of our staff stayed out to the military makeover house along with my beautiful wife and worked all night.
Yeah,
11
kudos.
o'clock.
Last night?
And yes,
Valerie?
Jen
Valerie,
kept going, by the way.
Wow.
We left at 11. She was still working.
Let's give a shout out to the Purple Heart Homes project team that went up to Virginia in
yeah.
10-degree weather
Yep.
in the
Yep.
snow,
Yep.
built a ramp
Yep.
for a veteran so that they could come home from the hospital.
That's right. That was Joel Dalton, Timothy Bates, and Val Keating. And
John,
thank you so much for
The
doing
staff, stellar.
Nice off
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes. We are glad you are with us today. We are joined in studio by the chairman of the board, Dave Sternberg.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, there you go. And Scott Moss from Military Makeover, and Military Makeover is in Statesville this week, and we are we're working together to transform a veteran's home. And Scott, I was wondering maybe if you could talk a little bit about. I know we don't want to reveal everything, but before the show comes out, but talk to a little bit about what happens, when you come to town, and what do you guys do for these veterans?
Yeah, so a lot, just leave it. No. Every project is different, as you guys know, right? So we've said we do heavy facelift. So some need more, some need, less. But everything is drastically different, right? So, I don't want to reveal too many things, but I think they're going to be extremely excited. But from cabinets to kitchen, bathroom, paint, furniture, the usual suspects that you would expect in a makeover, we're doing most, if not all that. And then, we have a lot of great brand partners and sponsors that are in different categories that may not be, product related. Like, here's one they know about, Dave & Buster's, right? Husband and wife get a night out away from the kids. That's kind of fun, right? But the other stuff, they won't know until they come home tomorrow. So, it's a lot of really awesome things that will, hopefully they'll be really excited.
So, for those that don't know, so what happens is you guys come to town, and then the family pack them up, and they move out.
Yep.
It's like they left their home and they put it up for sale.
Yeah. So it's pretty. Again, we talk to a lot of people and talk to a lot of brands and partners, and I think they kind of believe me and that's when we're telling them. But until you come and actually see what's happening in 10 to 12 days, and again, everyone usually somewhere in that window, it's really remarkable. But yeah, we come in, we kick them out of their house. We usually put them up in a rental property or a hotel, depending on the area, and we go to town. We'll start demoing the house, moving it out. Our different partners that are appropriate for those parts of the show are woven in. We have some great long-standing partners that I would love to, talk about at some point. But we're going through, in a short order, that makeover.
Statesville is so good. Statesville's contractors are so amazing. Mm-hmm. We're actually doing it in 9 days.
9 days,
yeah.
Wow.
Look at that. One day, you guys have been awesome. It's a testament, though, full transparency, to Purple Heart Homes. We go to a lot of communities, and most of them are really, really excited. But
now, I want to give a shout out to the Statesville Chamber of Commerce, Discover Statesville.
Yep.
They helped organize so much. Certainly the mayor and his support in all this, and we have just had a great, phenomenal outpouring. South River Deep and Wide Ministries has been feeding the crews and coming out and cooking and supporting. It was just amazing the number of people that have come out to support.
Lunch today was great.
Yeah.
Scott, I talk about this. I travel a fair amount professionally, and my wife was always making sure I'm eating, but she doesn't ask when I come here.
Right.
They always feed me up good. Yeah.
No, I was not expecting a fillet with a baked potato for lunch today. That was pretty awesome. But to your point, when our shows is real deal. When they come home on reveal day, it really is the first time they've seen the home.
It's not rehearsed.
No, it's when they come up to the house, Montel opens that door. It's truly the first time that they've seen it. And, Montel has been just an amazing, addition to the program and is a co-executive producer of it since 2018. And, has really, to your point, Dave, earlier, helped us improve the quality of the program, again, with our amazing crew. But, yeah, it's pretty remarkable what happens when that family comes back. And, the people you see lining the streets, they're not paid extras or actors. They're friends, family, brand partners, sponsors, that people of the community that are really excited for the family to come home. And that's something to be said. It's not like we're, shove you all over here, and it looks like there's people like, it's a real gathering. And again, grateful to have been able to do it this long. Purple Heart Homes, you guys are amazing. We have some awesome partners, from Jersey Mike's to Junk King to Fujitsu, that have been with us for a long time. And, Dave & Buster's joining us in lots of different areas of the show that are physical products, and then things that help keep our crew running, right?
Well, one of the things that I really appreciate is, you think about it, right? And somebody comes to your house that you've been living in for a number of years, and they go, you got to pack up all your stuff. That is very stressful, right? Super stressful on the family.
Yep.
But you don't just sequester them away and then leave, and just leave them there.
No.
Right? You guys, for the whole week, you've been attentive to them.
Yep.
And Art kind of goes out and hangs out with the family, and you do all
Jen.
kinds.
Yeah.
And Jim
Yeah.
too. You do stuff for them during the week to make them feel loved and appreciated, and talk to some of those things that you do. I know you mentioned Dave and Buster's, but there's some other things that happen this week.
Yeah, we'll do.
As an example, let's, instead of maybe focusing on the Bowmans and what's going to be in this show, talk a little bit about Carlos and some of the things that happened there in on the Arlington, Texas project.
Yeah, that was awesome. And to your point, though, yeah, we are, obviously they're going to operate some aspects of their normal life, but they're going to be, doing, B-roll packages off at other locations and stuff, and we're taking care of them.
So, you guys took Carlos. He's big into sports and athletic stuff. Took him jet skiing.
Right, took him jet skiing. So, obviously the Q4, the one that just aired here in fourth quarter, Carlos Colon Ruiz, amazing veteran, was part of the 506 Infantry, which is what HBO's Band of Brothers is written off of, and he suffered some pretty substantial injuries.
The Bush Center was another one.
Yeah,
There's a couple of things.
You guys, know some people. We, if you go take a look on the show, we had President George W. Bush come on the program and make a cameo and surprise Carlos, which was really cool. Pretty cool to say you had a former president on your show. And again, it's to the organizations like yourself and the fact that we've been able to have a credible show for so long. It's really, we're really grateful for it. It's a blessing to be able to do
Brad,
it.
I going back again to Carlos, and I can't wait for people to see the show about the Bowmans. Don't get me wrong, but we don't want to disclose all that stuff, right? But for
Brad, you're not allowed to go back to the house. 'Cause you seem like you know too much.
Yeah, that's right.
But for Carlos, we had Team Echelon, Project Echelon, and Argon 18 provided a time trial bike for Carlos. We were able to present.
Yeah,
he's
that
big
was,
into-
that was a nice bike.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
bike, and that was a nice
Yeah,
bike.
it's a very nice bike.
We
Yeah.
had to protect it and fend people off because there
Yeah.
was other cyclists in the crowd and they were all trying to touch it. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
you had-
I mean, that's true.
They were amazed with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Paul
man.
and I were guarding that thing within
Be
an inch of
fast
our
on that
lives.
thing.
It's not just the house, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's other things that improve their home and their life, right? So our goal, and as we learn more about the family, there's those usual suspects things we need, the flooring and the cabinets, that stuff. But then we'll find out unique needs, like he's a biker, they are really big into billiards, whatever, things that maybe they couldn't afford to buy. That's part of the thing, is like what's something in your life that you maybe wouldn't do for yourself, and obviously, life's expensive, right? And we're all trying to, get through it. And maybe you really want that new pool table and you're not going to write the check for it, but we're going to make sure you get one.
So you're not just providing them with housing improvements, you're providing them with an experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a life-changing experience.
It really is.
Exactly.
Well, I'll just add the shameless plug again. There's a way for every member of the community to get involved, whether you're a furniture company, whether you're a cycling company, whether you're a billiard company, whether you're selling 2x4s or shingles. There's a way for everybody to get involved.
Yeah. Well, I think supporting an organization like yourself is amazing. I mean, what you guys do, is really, I think everyone should get involved, and it's a way for people to give back and see a connection to what they may donate to, Purple Heart, and how that trickles down into, a ramp or a new widened doorway or whatever. And I think that's what we were so excited about having you guys part of the show is what you all do every single day. So I'll happily.
And how many of these
shamelessly
shows
plug
is
you.
Military Makeover doing a year?
We're doing 4. So 1 veteran a quarter, 4 a year. And like I said, we'll celebrate Family 40 this year.
And it's 4 episodes, 4 or 5 episodes
So it's
per family.
So each
right?
each family we call season, and they're 4 to 6 half-hour episodes, depending on the extent of the makeover. Some are a little longer, some are a little shorter, but essentially the audience follows that. Those initial airings on Lifetime over the time period, and then the show goes into syndication as well. Mm-hmm. So, but
And where and so people can watch it on Lifetime.
Yep, you can watch it on Lifetime.
Where else is it available?
So it's syndicated broadcast syndication, through affiliate networks after the Lifetime airings, and then we have, also an American Forces Network and various other OTT platforms where Lifetime live stream is available, and of course on our website militarymakeover.tv.
Yeah, so streaming on demand.
Yeah,
like you can just go grab an episode and watch it.
You can binge watch Military Makeover, which we would love you to do. You can check that right out on the website.
Wow, that's amazing. Hey, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll be back.
Wow, Scott, this is just fantastic, and really appreciate it, Dave. I'm so interested in what we got going on with Military Makeover, but the impact is real, right?
Yep.
And the viewership, but we need viewers to take action,
we
and
do.
so you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we weren't going to get through this entire time together without me talking about it, even if I had to interrupt somebody. John. So I want to be clear about that. Yeah, I mentioned earlier how much the organization's grown. We simply, it's easy to watch the partnership that we have with Military Makeover and make the assumption that, there's plenty of money. And that's not the case.
1,400 applicants in the pipeline.
That's correct. I was going to say, that's, we're watching one family, and it's an amazing experience, but there are 1,400 veterans that have contacted us around the country.
Had a World War II veteran contact me this morning that is in need of a chairlift. Just broke a hip.
Wow.
And is now going to be in a wheelchair.
Well, let's make that happen.
Yep. And so there's a need.
A substantial part of the funding for Purple Heart Homes comes from the public.
Absolutely.
And I don't want people to walk away thinking, they get money from this company or that company or this sponsor. That's not, those are important to us. That's not the full piece of the puzzle. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Every dollar, I always say, phhusa.org, hit donate. There's your way to do it. In fact, the gift club, Hearts of Honor, less than $1 a day. Yep. If you join that club, less than $1 a day, you can be part of this every single day. Like I said, we're almost helping a veteran every day.
Yeah, and it's cool when people join Hearts of Honor Club. They get continuous communication from us and updates and exclusive content.
Yeah.
And I just want to throw it out there too.
Yeah.
That our board members donate.
Yes, they
our
do.
Executive team members donate.
Yes,
our
they
employees
do.
donate.
Yes, they do.
This is a family affair where everybody is sold out for serving veterans.
You and I.
Scott's donated.
Yeah.
Military Makeover.
Yes.
Brand Stars donated.
You and I joke. This has cost me more money. Me and my family more money. Being involved, and I'm
really starting to believe that you really do think this is like the mob. But.
Yeah, well, it could be, but I'm
keep asking.
There's lots of great.
Make you an offer you can't refuse.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of great places to sport. This is just stellar. I mean, this is a way to have an impact. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
And certainly,
I was going to shamelessly plug you on the air, so I'll wait for that.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. we do appreciate your leadership and helping to grow the organization and challenge us and push us in a way that has got us where we're at.
Just trying to serve.
Mike's off. Final.
Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We are joined here in studio with Dave Sternberg, board chairman of Purple Heart Homes, and Scott Moss, EVP of Brand Star,
janitorial services.
Got a lot of titles.
Man, I'm not even sure. I just know when we want something done, we call Scott.
He's like a Scottish lord.
I was hoping for a intro music that Dave got, but I didn't get one.
Man.
So I have to make something up. That's kind of what I was thinking.
And here's Scott Moss.
And Scott Moss.
Yes, excited to be here.
Appreciate you being here. It's just a big week for us. We're grateful for Military Makeover, grateful for the impact that not only making here in Statesville, where we're located, but all over the country in different communities. And we've got a couple more seasons coming up in this year. Next, we're going to be in Florida, correct?
Yep, we're coming to South Florida. But the Crosby family down there in Lake Worth. Lake Worth, Palm Beach County.
Okay.
That'll be airing Q2. This is the Q1 family, Q1 airing. Just to talk about Purple Heart, you guys are an amazing organization, and there's a lot of wonderful nonprofits out there, right, that serve veterans, as I'm sure you'd agree. But I've had the privilege of being able to see firsthand what you do, and for those who are looking for giving, or whether it's a small amount or a big amount, I mean, you can see where the dollar goes to. And I think that's really important. A lot of times people think of nonprofits and they think some of them are really, really large, some of them whatever. They don't really know, like, where is it going? Am I making a difference? And I can tell you that from going to your headquarters, every dollar you donate is going there. So you should absolutely check out phhusa.org and
Let me plug right there.
click on that button.
Guide Star Platinum Seal of Transparency and 4-star rating from Charity Navigator. And we're proud of that. We got a great team that just works diligently to make sure our veterans are served, and they truly want to serve more.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Scott, can you tell us? I mean, you've done. You're going to be doing your 40th show, 40th season.
Q4, yep.
Yeah. Can you go back and tell us a little bit about one that was particularly impactful to you?
Yeah, so we've had a ton, but there's a couple that stand out. One was, I'm going to get the year probably wrong, but I think it was back in 15. I was actually, so this would have probably happened in 14. I think it aired in 15. I was in my office, about to walk out, phone rings, look down, trying to get out the door, picked up the phone, and on the other end of the phone is an older woman. Sounds like an older woman. And she tells me her name, and she tells me that she sent an email to me and that she has a home in Central Florida that she, wants to give away to a veteran on our show. And I'm like, okay, who is this?
Right.
Sure you do.
This happens every day.
And remember, the show hadn't been on that long at this
Right.
point. So I'm like, right,
Right.
of course. Haha. And then I'm like, all right, well, can you send me that email? She read me off my email, and she had spelled it wrong. And I'm like, oh, wow, she was serious. So she forwarded it to me. Sure enough, there's her story and pictures about her and pictures of this great little house that Gunny was like, man, I'll live here in a second. And especially after we were done with it. And we ended up doing I don't know if the right word is contest, something through Facebook where we looked for a family. People think it's really easy to find the veterans. It's not. And, we there's a lot of things that have to go into it. And we had this family, the Travis family, that ended up being the recipient of the home. And they had a small child at the time. She's probably older now, obviously. Yeah. And, it was just remarkable. I think what was so impactful was not that we made over a house, but like our show inspired someone enough to give away a home. Like at a nice
incredible
house, not like a,
Right.
haunted or something, like a really nice house, which was amazing. We are a South Florida based company, and a lot of people are aware of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas event and the shooting that happened, and we had the privilege of being able to make over the home of Debbie Hickson, whose husband was lost in that, and he was a naval veteran, and we got to make her home over. That was pretty awesome. It's very near and dear to our headquarters. Just so many other amazing families we have. We've had families that have followed us. For other makeovers, that until COVID, they would come to every makeover and they would partake in the next family's makeover. So that was really cool. We've had a lot of impact, and overall, pretty amazing.
Do you guys have do y'all stay, do you have an aftercare program where you stay connected with the veterans that have come through military makeover?
So I don't know if I'd say an aftercare program. Obviously, we do stay connected with them, and of course, if they have any issues, any of the things that happen to makeover, we take care of that. And the brands of all of our brand partners stand behind those warranties or whatever. But yeah, if they need something, we're here. Something we've been talking about is doing a look back. Like I would love to see the Lunt family, that baby, I don't even know if he was a year old. So he would be what?
Oh, wow.
10 right now or whatever.
Right.
So it'd be cool to see where they
Or
are.
like a reunion
Wonder
show.
if they still live in the house, right? So, but we make sure that they're taken care of after. We don't just leave and see you later. We make sure that they're good, and they're obviously. It's a big deal. It's exciting, but it's life changing.
Well,
them
I mean,
too,
I say that because so many of the veterans that we serve, we stay connected with.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and because they call us, and and some of our veterans become donors.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them do.
But you guys help me. I think John Beard.
Yeah.
Who this guy? He's a Vietnam veteran. He could not. He's in a wheelchair. He couldn't get out of his house. So when he would have to go to the doctor, he would call the volunteer fire department.
Wow.
And they would come out and get him out of the house, right? And so we worked with the volunteer fire department to build him a ramp, right? Yeah. Now, I mean, it was cold that day. Me and Rob Harrell were out there. And then all of a sudden, after the ramp was done, I started seeing, donations every month from this guy. He lived in a single wide trailer. He's not a wealthy dude, right? And he was so impacted by that. And so we stayed connected with the veterans either through that, or they'll call us, or they send us
Write us
cards.
letters.
They write
Yeah.
us letters, and it's so meaningful to us to think that, we just didn't do some work for them and then, take an Instagram picture and go, hey, give
And
to us.
there's
right?
Dale Dunmeyer up in Ohio. It never fails. Every time I make any kind of post about a wheelchair ramp on any of our social media, Dale will comment how a ramp gave him his freedom, so he could get on his scooter and he could go to the VFW, the American Legion. Wouldn't have to have somebody carry him out of the house so he could go to his VA appointment. It restored his freedom.
Yeah.
I think that project was in my hometown.
It
wasn't
was.
it? Yeah,
It sure was.
The interesting. I remember one of the projects we did in Arizona. When we welcomed the family back. The fire department was there.
Was that Paul Kircham?
No.
That was different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the fire department came, and a lot of police department came, and I was chatting with them, and they said to the veteran, because they were there frequently because he would fall.
Yeah.
And he needed their assistance, and they said we're glad to we're happy to come by just as frequently as we were. But we know it won't be to have to help you.
Right,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Like they were like we're
because they had a kind of an important job.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if they're not helping somebody out of their house, that's a fire they can fight.
They were grateful for him. I think they felt good for him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But by helping him, you end up helping the community overall
Correct.
because
Yeah,
now you
absolutely.
free up these first responders to go and take care of other folks.
Yeah, and the other thing too about that project is the way he had a niece helping care for him, and it made her and his son, and it made it easier for them to care for him
did.
because of the change to the
It did.
home.
Absolutely.
So I would say we're impacting more than the veteran. It's his or her family.
Well, we keep account on
Yeah.
on the not only the veteran impact, but the general community
Right.
impact. So for every one veteran project we have, it's like at least two other people that have been impacted. But if you think about somebody's neighborhood, right? And they go, oh, that's Bob, and we go help him. And then they see a team of people come out and improve the home, and they get connected in. They see a flagpole go up, and Bob's out there raising his flagpole in the morning, right? And so it affects the neighborhood too, right? And
I think that's one of the most interesting things is you see neighbors that we in our last one we had a neighbor, she was cooking for everybody, just and park the RV here. And I mean we're in your face for 2 weeks, and
you can't,
people are letting us park RVs in their driveway. We're using their water. We're plugging into their power, and
it's an imposition, honestly.
It really is.
You guys have this big crew. It's not like 2 or 3 people show up with
it's
a camcorder.
No, it's a movie style production with a construction project happening, and we will be at your the neighbors, and that's why I say most of them. Well. Where we go, that we talk to them first. We just show up. But
Scott, I just want to take the opportunity while you're here and on the show to thank you for the just a great partnership with Brandstar and Military Makeover, and I know all of our team. They work diligently to make it happen every day, and I'm so appreciative of them. And but you got a team, you got a great team, and I know that it's. An aspect of they're making it happen, right?
Yeah.
You're here on the show with us, but they're making it happen, just like the Purple Heart Homes team. There's great people, like Devin mentioned earlier, like Val and Tim and so many others that are making it happen. Anybody like to specifically talk about that's here on the set or behind the scenes?
I can, sure. So we've got a great team. One of our producers who actually originally kind of had that conversation with you, Delaney, she's been with us for a long time. Obviously Rick and the crew and every single member there, Art, Montel, Jen, Jess, who's sitting here behind me. I don't know if
Matthew.
we can get it. Yeah, I'm getting there. Matthew, Claudia. I'm gonna leave people out, and that's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Our entire marketing team. I mean, Jen, her sister. I mean, it's just Larry, the audio guy. Ty, the whole team.
It's over 100 people.
It is, and again. Disclaimer, if I'm leaving you out, John McWhirter, Nick Richmond, our producers, everybody there. Claudia, to your point, please, no one get angry at me. I got a clock going over here.
I'm sorry, I put you on the hot seat.
We got a really great team.
Scott, I got to say, they're the nicest people.
They are.
I mean, we don't know TV.
Right.
That's obviously your job. They treat us very nicely.
Yeah.
I could be screwing stuff up,
Right.
and I wouldn't know it.
Well,
They're
bring
that's true,
fantastic,
Dave.
yeah.
We bring a British director
Yeah,
so he can
he's-
yell at you
Uh-huh.
and curse at you, and it
Yes.
still sounds really
That's
nice,
correct,
right?
yeah,
Because if
that's
I did it, it would be like, what? But when he does it,
Yeah.
it sounds great.
Hello.
So, no, they're awesome. And again, I think there's a lack of
Guys, hey, it's
Yeah.
been a great show. That's all we've got for this week. But you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll catch you later.